Welcome to Out of the Noise podcast, a spiritual growth podcast. This podcast is about holding sacred space to help assist humanity to raise their consciousness through connection. By having courageous conversations out of the noise of mainstream with heart-centered leaders, wisdom keepers, and divine humans expanding into their authenticity and soul purpose. We will explore spiritual concepts, practices, to deepen into your healing and the collective. Priestess Lilly is a medium, light activator, and heart-centered leader that is committed in raising the light frequency and consciousness here on Earth for us all. You can work with her and learn more by visiting www.priestesslilly.com. Enjoy your spiritual learnings.
Welcome to Out of the Noise. I'm so excited today as we have the beautiful Suzy Cherb. In this captivating episode, we invite you to immerse yourself in the potent cycles of the moon as we explore the vast tapestry of magic and divine lunar influences that connect us all. Joining us in this extraordinary conversation, Suzy Cherb, an international acclaimed psychic medium, published author, speaker, and intuitive coach. Suzy's approach blends intuition, mindfulness, and self-awareness, guiding others to live an intuitive and conscious lives. Her mission is to help soul-centered individuals create fulfilling relationships while fostering passion, holistic balance, and authentic happiness. Awarded International Psychic of the Year in Australia 2014, Suzy has shared her psychic insights and healing messages with thousands of people worldwide. Now she dedicates her time to empowering others, helping them awaken their own gifts and encouraging them to live a more intuitive, spirited life. In this episode, Suzy shares her journey, her inspiration behind the stunning Moon Temple Oracle, and how the sacred deck can help you align with the divine rhythms of the lunar cycle. Whether you're new to moon magic or deeply attuned to the influence, this conversation is a gateway to connecting with the celestial wisdom of the moon. So let's get started, people. I am so excited to have the beautiful Suzy Cherb back. I know so many of you love her, the oracle, the mystic, the teacher, the mentor, the creator. You are all aspects, sister. So welcome back to Out of the Noise.
I just love our chats. I just look forward to them and, that beautiful synergy of, speaking with a sister that's like-minded, love-hearted, we always dive deep. It's going to be, fun. I'm looking forward to it. Thank you for having me on again. How fun.
There's always time for you, Suzy, because oh my God, sister, I love what you create and offer to the world on so many levels. I get so much out of it, and I know so many clients get so much out of it. I thought Oracle of Delphi was my favorite deck, but now you've just released Moon Temple Oracle. This is next level, sister.
Oh, thank you. That ever-evolving, up-leveling journey. I so love that you you get it and you resonate with it. And it was an absolute honour and a privilege to work with Lila Savalainen on this deck. And I love the cycles, the seasons, as I know you do too. So, and working with the divine feminine as well, bringing all of that together. And it's just been so beautiful. I just love it so much. Yeah.
And I love that we're recording this podcast on the first full moon in 2025.
How perfect. how in alignment is that? So synchronized. And we didn't even do that deliberately, did we? And normally, I know you and I like to do things very intentionally and very, but this was divine intervention, because you can't make this up, right?
Yeah, hashtag you can't make this shit up. That's my hashtag. Yeah. What inspired you to create the Moon Temple Oracle? And what moment did you really get that vision sparked?
Oh, yeah. Look, I've always had this strong connection to the moon phases, to the magic of the moon. And I love the magic of the moon. Like I do love astrology and all of that. But for me, my connection to the moon is very cyclic. It's very, instinctual, intuitive, connecting to the different cycles, phases, stages of the moon. And, we are so connected to the moon. And I think, the moon often represents all of those sacred feminine qualities of intuition and cycles and really flowing, the ebb and flow of life as well, of our own life stages too. So I guess for me, yeah, it was, a download, aha moment in regards to it's time to create the Moon Temple Oracle deck. But I've always had this affiliation and friendship with our sister, the moon, or our mother, the moon, like it's just been something that is woven into my devotional practices anyway, so it kind of made a lot of sense to me to bring that forward in a unique way too. So there's a lot of really amazing Moon Temple Oracle decks out there, or Moon Oracle or Moon Tarot or whatever. But this really is my take on that, which is, weaving in the moon deities, the divinities from all over the planet. Also, the different moon phases and what does that mean for us. And I've woven in ritual and, of course, pragmatic ways to work with the moon as well, that practical magic, I guess. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. I think it was a progressive insight in regards to now it's time. And, divine timing as well. I feel like it was the right time to bring that energy kind of forward as well. So, yeah, that's pretty much it.
I know for myself, I use oracles daily. And
Well, you are an oracle.
yeah, I loved the water temple. I thought this is phenomenal. And then you created and birthed the Oracle of Delphi. And I loved that. I loved that. And I did a whole month of energy readings on the Oracle of Delphi because I just was so deeply connected to it. I haven't shared this within my group space or publicly online yet. And I think that's because I've got such a deepening, expanding relationship with the deck, with the energies, with the layered magic that's in it. And I know that I messaged you saying, holy bejesus, I just
Yeah.
in a water portal, and it was like this most amazing experience when I was meditating with this deck. How do you layer your magic? Because this is not just something that has just been pushed out and same. This is deep, layered, so symbolic, so connected on so many different levels. And I think you can work with it in so many different ways.
Exactly. So, being a psychic coach and spiritual teacher, I like the decks to not just be predictive or prophetic, but also be really useful. And, like, what am I going to do with that information? How can I make that information relevant to my journey forward? So, I guess, with everything we do, there is that aspect of, past, present, future. But for me, layering the magic, I think it happens intuitively. Like I do tend to see things very in a multidimensional way, as I know you do as well. It's very multifaceted. Everything, energetically is layer upon layer upon layer. I like the energies to be very congruent as well. So within that card, I do my own research. I also do a lot of meditation, a lot of downloading in around each message. I like the deck to be really comprehensive and also have the light and day, the moon and the sun, if you like, the winter, summer. Like I like it to be not just, 3D. I like it to be, much deeper than that. So I really appreciate that you can see the layers and, that intricate web of the cards in the deck, because to me it's not just about what's going to be happening to me. It's more about how can I navigate that in a way that is going to be, useful or, so it's that weaving the practical with the esoteric, I guess. Yeah.
And I love that. I love that work. I love that about all the work that you have birthed and created, compared to other decks, from other oracles or spiritual people. So my next question is, because I find this really fascinating. This is a bit of a personal question. Like working with any goddess, deity, there's always one that scares the living bejesus out of you when they show up. I remember when I first had, meditation, and I think it was, it was a shadow goddess. It was a death goddess. I just can't think of her name now.
Yeah. I love it.
It'll come to me when I'm not thinking about it. Who was the one that, did you have an experience like that? Or were you open?
Yeah, it's really interesting because I've always had this really strong connection to Hecate, Queen of the Crossroads, Queen of the Shadows. She's fierce, she's powerful. I guess she helps you, when you really are in the in-between, when you're really at that, intersection in your life. So she is the light bearer as well. So she does have that ability to shine her light in very dark, shadowy places. So,
She might be all over the planet right now.
I think so.
Collective right now, obviously.
She's almost always in all of my decks. And I know people quite often I find her beauty steep and wonderful, and but at the same time, for some people, she can be quite confronting because she is that shadow goddess as well. So she'll help you illuminate your limiting beliefs, your past hurts. She'll help you. She really is the ultimate alchemist because she does have that ability to go into the cave, into that deep, dark unconscious, and help you reveal hidden truths that, perhaps need to have some light, shining down on them, I suppose. So, yeah, for me, I think, Ceridwen is another one, the beautiful Celtic Ceridwen. I really like this is just me, but I really like to give everyone a platform. So I find that, women of a certain age are often invisible in goddess decks because people have this misconception that goddesses are all stunning, gorgeous women that, are youthful. And of course, that is a fantastic aspect of the goddess. But the goddess is also the crone. She's also the wise woman. She's also beautiful. The goddess is beautiful at any age, that wisdom of age, that crown of wisdom. So I think it's important too that women from all cultures, but also women from all ages and sizes, are represented in a beautiful way. Like you can be the crone and still be wise and wonderful and beautiful. But Ceridwen can be quite confronting for most people because we are programmed into thinking that is goddess-like. And of course it can be, but we've got the maiden, the mother, the empress, the queen, the crone, and all of the goddess is incredibly deep and beautiful and wise and wonderful. So, yeah.
I'm so glad that you actually said that, because I have been feeling into, the goddesses, the priestess energy as a whole, and thinking over the last year and a bit, as patriarchy collapses and as we start to move into a different era and a different form, we've only ever known about these goddesses through a patriarchy lens. Like, that's how it's been taught to us. And
perfect. Yes.
My experience is nothing like, goddesses, the feminine energy. And when you read some of the history about Boudica, and it's actually quite it's really potent and powerful, but through the patriarchy lens, it's so, like, even Mary Magdalene,
Yes.
it's limited. It's
limited.
It's disjointed from,
Yes.
the last experience, the energy that I've personally felt.
Yes. Oh, I love that you've brought that up, because it is through that patriarchal lens that we see the goddess in her maiden. And of course her maiden is equally as beautiful. The spring goddess, the summer goddess, the mother, they're all equally as beautiful as the crone. So it's not like one is better than the other. But I love that you can kind of see the beauty in that. But of course it can be quite confronting. And, Ceridwen, you don't mess with Ceridwen. She's got a powerful energy. She is a powerful, wise, wonderful witch. So, she's not light and fluffy.
No. And I think that's the difference with your decks to some degrees. Oracle is sold, and the spiritual world is sold light and fluffy. It's sold to us light and fluffy, but you and I, and probably many of our listeners that are listening, know that is not true. Sometimes our best evolution, revolution, insight, downloads is when we're actually in the shadow, on the floor, everything falling to bits around us.
Exactly. Absolutely. There's beauty in that transition, that metamorphosis. Without that dark night of the soul, or, sometimes learning what we don't want so that we recognize what we do want, so that we can call more of that in as well. So, yeah, I love that.
And I think right now on the planet, that is very much what's happening. People are being asked to really, align with what they're wanting more of.
Exactly. Yeah. And there's amazing shifts happening. I know it feels like it's not happening quickly enough, but we do have to have the crumbling and the breakdown before we have the rebuild. And that's not, Armageddon crazy stuff. That's just a transition. You don't want to put a dodgy extension on a broken house. You want to build a new foundation. So, yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Just a bit left field. So moon cycles, for those that are just becoming to their early stages of their spiritual journey, working with moon cycles, and how can they begin to align with the moon energy daily?
Oh, wow. That's such a great question. I mean, we all love the full moon, that beautiful beaming, blossoming, luminary, that beautiful bright full moon where everything's amplified and magnified. And then we have the beautiful new moon, which is, some call it the dark moon, which is really a blank canvas, which really is the beginning of a new phase and cycle. So that's the perfect time to set intentions, create that wish list. And then, of course, you have the crescent moon, which is where, it's about, the beginning of the archer, aim and fire type energy, So the new moon really is that new cycle, But there's also, you know, the waning moon, the waxing moon, and the waning and the waxing of the moon, the waning, the going within, the waxing, the growing, the expansion of the moon. Those cycles are really relevant to our own personal cycle. You know, we're all connected. You know, the moon's very connected to the water, to the sacred waters, to the ocean. We're mainly made up of water. So, you know, it's a scientific and spiritual fact that we're, you know, very influenced by the phases of the moon. So I think it's important to also connect to the other phases of the moon too. So, you know, is the moon waning? Is the moon, if the moon is waning, then it's a good time to do reflection. It's a good time to rest. It's a rejuvenation period. You know, the waxing is all about growing your soulful projects, your creative ideas, your, you know, and when you flow with the moon, you'll be more productive. How do you weave it into your everyday? I think, you know, it doesn't need to be complicated. That's one of the reasons why I love moon magic over astrology. And I do love astrology and I do admire it. But at the same time, moon magic is a lot more intuitive. It's a lot more instinctive. You're connecting in with the stage of the moon that's relevant on that day. And you can, you know, journal in around the moon phase. You can align to the moon phase that day. So if it was, so today we're in the full moon glow. So it's the perfect time to magnify and amplify. It's the perfect time to tie up loose ends. It's a culmination period, you know, so you know, you don't need to be, you know, into moonology. You don't need to be an expert on the moon to connect to the moon either. It can be, you know, just Google what the moon is for that day, what the moon cycle is, what the main meaning is. Pull an oracle card in around that energy, and yeah, it's really beautiful. And you know, create a moon ritual that is easy to integrate into your everyday. It doesn't need to be complicated. It can be, you know, light a candle, make a wish. It can be your beautiful sacred bath ritual in around a full moon. Yeah, there's so many little kind of simple things that you can do. But I think acknowledging the moon phase and what does that mean for me and how can I make that work for me, and keeping it simple, really. Yeah. If you make it complicated, you're never going to do it. You know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I did last night. What am I releasing?
Yes,
and
perfect.
Pretty vulnerable stuff down. And what am I welcoming in? What am I actually welcoming in for 2020? And as much as I wanted to write the fluffy stuff, a new car, you know, a batch, I actually wrote the nitty gritty stuff, the real heart, not the physical, tangible belongings, the actual heart centered things that I really, truly, as in, you know, desire. So I think moons are also for releasing.
They are for releasing. And the moon is the perfect time. The full moon is the perfect time to release because the full moon is an amplifier and a magnifier. So if you're detoxing, if you're releasing, if you're letting go, if you're surrendering everything from 24, the best time to do it is in a full moon because the full moon will amplify that release, will you know, make it happen for you a lot more easily than you know, during another stage of the moon. Yeah, exactly.
What's your favorite stage? What's your favorite stage, sister?
Oh, look, I was born under a dark moon. I love
New moon.
the new moon. So I love the new phase of anything. You know, the honeymoon period of creating a spiritual business, the honeymoon period of a relationship. You know, I have to work on the other stages. You know, they don't come quite so easily for me. So I'm really good at. I'm fearless. I love change. I love, you know, change doesn't frighten me. I actually really enjoy change. I clean my wardrobe out on the weekend and I loved just being quite ruthless about that, you know. recycling my clothes, giving my clothes away. I have no fear in around letting go of my clothes. And that's just a simplistic way of explaining the energy of being born under a dark moon, because I love the letting go and the calling in. I love that beginning period of anything. I find it really exciting and really exhilarating. For me, my lesson has been hanging in there until the end, completing things. Completing things has been my challenge because I wasn't born under a full moon. If you're born under a full moon, you're very good at completing things. You love the completion of things. For me, it's like the next shiny thing. I'm a bit bored with that. What's the next shiny thing? So for me, the lesson's been staying on that path to completion. Yeah. But I would have to say that I do love a dark moon, that beautiful blank canvas of infinite potential, unlimited promise. It's fun for me.
I love that. I love that. I actually don't know when I was born. On what moon phase? I need to go and
It's so powerful.
Yeah.
It's really easy. There's some terrific moon calendars online. You don't even need your time of birth. You just need your day of birth, because a full moon really is a full moon over a 3-day period. And the personality traits of what moon you were born under really makes so much sense. And then you can navigate life going, oh, I'm doing that thing again. I'm doing that, starting lots of new things instead of staying true to my path. You start to get a bit more clear on your own personality of, it's really powerful stuff, actually, working at your birth moon. And that is actually in the deck, in the booklet as well. You can actually do a spread on that once you know what your birth moon, your natal moon is, your birth moon. Really powerful, not complicated.
I'm going to go and Google that and find that out. I know that, like, many people plant their veggies in their garden on the moon cycle.
Yes.
And they swear by it. They absolutely swear that it's the best way to plant their seedlings and cultivate their crop. Yeah.
Even farmers that aren't spiritual often plant around the moon. They know it works. They're not sure how. They don't have any. They may have a spiritual connection. Often they don't, though. It's kind of like, oh, this is just what we do.
Yeah. Isn't it interesting but then that's the natural cyclic nature that's generational that we've been doing, that's come through, it's the knowing, it's the wisdom.
It's the knowing, the wisdom. It's like the water diviner. I had a chat to a water diviner once, a farmer, and I said to him, oh, okay, so that's intuitive then. So, and he goes, no, I was taught how to do this by my grandfather, my this is just what we do, love. This is just what we do to find the water. And I'm thinking, well, it's energetic work, really. But he's just been doing it. His family have been doing it for generations. So,
I know that for myself, the moon impacts me around sleep.
Yes.
When I get a lot of creative ideas, downloads. How does that affect you? I get a lot of also intuitive wisdom for myself.
Yeah. Same here. Like, it affects my sleep. Like, sometimes too, like, I stay connected to the moon most of the time, but if I get a bit distracted because life's busy, and then I go, oh, the reason I didn't get any sleep last night was because it was a full moon and everything was a bit ramped up. No wonder I'm feeling a bit emotional or whatever it might be, because the moon is neutral too. So if you're unhappy or anxious or whatever, it's going to be amplified. If you're happy and joyful and elated and life's exciting, that's going to be amplified too. So it's good to, that's why it's so good to stay in touch with the moon, because, it's kind of like, how does it affect me? Well, I try to be proactive and positive about it and really flow with the moon most of the time anyway. But it definitely affects sleep patterns. It definitely affects your feminine cycle. It definitely affects your mood. It definitely affects, lots of different things. So, But I love the magic of the moon, you know. I love
Mm-hmm.
the whole magic of the moon, making
I
life magical.
Yeah, I used to have when I lived back in North Canterbury, manifesting moon circles. I just loved the
Powerful.
energy of women gathering together and setting potent intentions and layering it with witchcraft and magic. And the messages that I used to get from people manifesting cars to money to jobs to what, it blew my mind. And that's something that I think of that I've probably been doing ever since a little girl intentionally, but not really realizing it until I started to step into my spiritual practice.
Yes, exactly.
Mm.
I think sometimes it's happening anyway.
Yes.
Like even if you're not aware of it, even if you don't follow the moon, I guarantee it's happening anyway. It's impacting on you anyway.
Mm.
Moon circles are so powerful, and I know that you run a very potent container for that. Definitely, and for you don't have to be, you don't have to identify as female to connect with the magic of the moon either. Like in the Moon Temple Oracle deck, there's the Norse god Mani. You know, he's very in touch with his feminine side, obviously, but it's really interesting that that feminine energy, is amplifies your intuition and all everything really. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
What's your favorite card out of the deck?
Oh, isn't that interesting? I always have a new favorite. It's a very good question. You ask very good questions.
Oh, I don't know if I do, but yeah, I'm
Tell
curious
you
to
what,
know.
yeah, I tell you what, I have Portuguese heritage on my father's side, and one of the most ancient moon goddesses, and there's very little recorded history of her, but she's very, very real and is Alua. And I love her. I love her energy in the deck. She's so beautiful. There is actually a really beautiful full moon of her as well. So but I think that's powerful for me because I have that in my bloodline, if that makes sense. So there it is. It's the gratitude card, number 7, the full moon. It's very luminescent. It's really bright. She's vivacious and curvaceous because she is that voluptuous, full
Mm.
moon energy.
Mhm.
And she's just really beautiful. And then you've got, the crystalline energy of the moon. You've got the labyrinth above her head. I reckon that's probably, it's number 7, gratitude. Living in that attitude of gratitude, it's a full moon energy, is probably my favorite card. I feel a real
I
connection
love.
to her. Yeah.
I think a lot of people, because your work is so layered and so expanding, a lot of people, I know that for myself, the minute I think of the moon goddess, it's goddess Diana. And it's not until you start to work with cards like yours that you realize that there's actually so many other goddesses, energies that are significant around the moon cycle. Because I've never heard of that goddess before. And that's cool.
No, research was a bit challenging. I had to really tap into my own intuition to really download her information. There is information on her, but a lot of it is has been hidden or buried. But some say she is probably the most ancient lunar divinity because they're a very ancient culture. So that's kind of fun. I love that you connect with Diana though, because she's a very well-known moon goddess, but she's also extremely powerful. She's the archer. She's, wild, free-spirited, almost like Artemis type energy. She is that warrioress, that go-getter, that trailblazer. energy, if you like. And yeah, there's so many. Sometimes you'll feel a strong connection and you're not even really sure why. It could be in your own family tree, but often it's just a strong resonance to that energy. And I think if you resonate with it, it's far more powerful for you. So it's important that you go with the divinity that kind of really sings to your soul and calls to you, because I feel like that's going to make the energy far more potent. Yeah. Yeah.
This question's just jumped into my head. Who's the goddess that you couldn't leave out? The one that keeps coming back, like tapping you on the head, the one that you thought that you couldn't miss.
Oh, really good question. It's always Queen of the Crossroads, Goddess Hecate. It's like you want to be in this one too. But the funny thing is, Hecate is actually a moon goddess. She is very connected to the moon. Her emblem is the triple goddess emblem, So, and most people don't realize this about Hecate, but she's the maiden mother crone. She's a multidimensional goddess, very connected to the moon. So, but she gets a look in every single time. And I think it's also bringing in the balance in the deck as well, the night day, the duality. I think it's important that she's there for me. So we often have a shadow divinity, and not bad. People think sometimes shadow is bad. It's not bad. It's just that duality. And Hecate is that for me. So she's like, even if to be honest, I didn't even think about her this time. And, she came to me and said, I don't think so. I am a lunar divinity. I need to be in the deck. You and I have a close relationship. Yes, please put me in there. So, yeah.
I love that. Suzy, would you be open to pulling a card for the ladies listening?
Absolutely.
And the gentlemen, and something with the intention of what the collective needs to hear right now?
Oh, I love that. Let's do that. So just shuffling the cards, just infusing luminescent cleansing energy into the cards. And we're just going to tap some intention into the cards too. Just thinking about, what does the collective need to know at the moment, especially moving into 25. Oh, I got number 35, the lunar eclipse, and the word is impact.
Oh,
and she's very, very focused. So this year is a new cycle. It's the start of a new cycle, and this year is all about stepping into your full light, like showing up, making an impact. You can't be willy-nilly about it. You can't just dip your toe. It's about fully embracing that energy. It's about finding your brave heart and your courage, if not now, when type energy. From a predictive perspective as a planet, there's going to be a lot of leaders stepping forward that are going to be making a major impact on change within the planet as well. It's really beautiful. You've also got the beautiful white wolf. What I love about the she-wolf, let's just call her that, is, she can go it alone, but she's also fiercely protective of the pack, and she's also very connected to the collective, to the the planet, to the universal kind of energy as well. So it is about knowing when to go it alone and to stay true to you. This year is very much about staying true to you. So if you don't stay true to you this year, it's going to be an uncomfortable year for you. Right? So no more, watering things down. It's going to be a very potent year of beginnings and positive changes, and taking things head on as well. So no more sidestepping, bypassing, no more spiritual bypassing, No more going, well, I could do that, but that's going to be confronting for some people. I think it's important to be really authentic, true to self, and know when to collaborate, when to co-create, but also when to step into your own leadership light and make that impact. So, really powerful card for the collective.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What do you get? What do you get, my love, when you tap into that energy?
The whole time you were speaking, I had
Yes.
goosebumps. So
Oh,
I'll
good.
just say that. So when I feel into this card, notice that she's coming out. She's in the darkness and she's coming out into the light.
Absolutely.
I think that this is, very much about exactly very similar to what you said, us coming out in all of our fullness, unapologetic,
Yes.
just being authentic and shining our light in who we truly are. Feel like when I see this, she's all frosty and cold, but she's moving out of that into this potent energy of being seen. It's like the shadow,
Being
the
seen.
veil can no longer hold me back
Yes.
because I'm rising from within. And I think that's very much what the energy is this year. It's instead of power outside of ourselves, it's power within. It's like it's going to be the more that we tap into the beauty of who we are as a soul being, the more powerful, potent, layered, magical we'll become. And it's like the veil, the universe will just separate, open.
Open
The
up.
portal will just
Yeah,
open.
exactly.
Yeah.
I love that. And the moonlit code words are pursue, strive, and intercept. I claim my desires as my own. So that moon wolf howls her wild reassurance and declares, now is the time to go all out. Now is the time. Get crystal clear about your top priorities so that you can align your choices to match your highest vision. Like attracts like. So if you really want to be a master manifester, be authentic because the universe knows the difference. So if you're, trying to be something you're not, or thinking, oh, I should do that because that's working for her or him or whatever, it's about, really, getting crystal clear on your core values, your top priorities, leaping forward with gusto and confidence, and believe in your dreams. So like believe, have that ask, believe, and receive, But I really loved your interpretation. That was super cool.
Oh, look, I just love your work. I love you and I love your work. And, I think that it's the year for the light workers, the intuitives, the healers. We're now being called to lead and show the way forward. And I feel that very much with you. And I know that you'll be creating and birthing this year so many amazing things for the collective.
Oh, thank you, my love. As are you.
Yeah. What other just
I love that you saw leadership in that card, actually, because I do think it is calling the light workers, the way showers, the trailblazers, the space holders, the change makers, it is calling them forward to, take it head on. No more sidestepping. Yeah. No more, I better not say that because that might freak people out. I think it's important to be super genuine and authentic and, but, lead with love as well. Lead with the light of love. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's the thing that for me, it's about we can lead with love as long as we take responsibility. There's an aspect of being responsible too. And I think that's
so powerful. If you unconditional self-responsibility, the power of self-responsibility, what's the alternative? Victimhood, lack mentality, it's somebody else's fault. That's giving your power away, actually. If you're always blaming a situation, a person, your past. What you're doing is you're actually giving your power away, because you're saying you have no power over that, and you are a sovereign being. You have the gift of free will. You get to decide, actually. It's not always easy. It can be really challenging, but exactly. I'm really glad you touched on personal responsibility, because if you take ownership, true ownership and personal responsibility, your life will change in a really positive, dramatic way, actually.
And I think that's how we shift. I think that's like that, that card, like that's what we're moving through and into. Oh my God, I love my time with you. I love my time with you.
I get so excited. I was so excited when, I knew we'd be having this chat today, because how lucky are we that we get to connect our hearts, and we're so like-minded, love-hearted, I just feel that really strong resonance with everything you're doing, which is incredibly amazing. So, love it.
Yeah. Thank you, Suzy. So, Suzy, sacred offering, sister. What are your sacred? How do people find you, work with you? What sacred offerings do you have? Because I know there's some lovely stuff happening in the pipeline.
Yes, I've got I've got some amazing things coming through this year. I've got possibly 1 or 2 new Oracle decks coming out as well.
You've kept that secret.
I'm creating a incredible container for sacred leaders, for oracles of light to really up level, to come into a community of just, all the things I basically do. Like I'm a medium, as you know, I'm a psychic, but I'm also a spiritual teacher. I'm also an alchemist and a healer, and a space holder. So I just want to support beautiful light workers to really fully embody their sacred leadership and shine their lights in a way that makes impact. There you go. Incredible impact in the world. So, and it's not about me being the guru or, it's more about community for me. I'm very democratic. I like unity. I think if we all rise together, there's no hierarchical. It's about really that equal circle that we come together. But I do want to work with light workers that are dead set serious about making a difference and fully embodying their leadership light and their full spirituality in whatever form that comes in. Like we all have a different psychic and spiritual personality, and that's what makes life wonderful. So I'm not here to tell you this is exactly what you need to be and do. It's more about you realizing your authentic truth. Yeah.
I love that. I love that. Love that. Love that. Thank you, Suzy. Thank you once again for coming on, and your wisdom, your time, your heart, just sharing that with the listeners. I absolutely adore you and appreciate you and what you give and gift to the world.
Oh, thank you so much. I'll receive that into my heart and right back at you, sister. Like, yes, as I said, how fortunate are we to have, this beautiful connection and, and connecting with the collective in such a way that, hopefully brings some insight and wisdom and reassurance and guidance. It's just, I love coming on your podcast. It's so much fun. Yeah.
I love having you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Suzy.
Thank you, my love.